Having a baby is the most magical, wonderful and miraculous thing that will ever happen to you. Well, so they say, and that's what you expect. But for 1 in 7 Australian mums out there, that early experience of motherhood is anything but miraculous.
Being aware that this can impact right from the start of pregnancy is a really important thing, because really your mental health, it's just as important as your physical health.
Terry Smith is the CEO of Panda, who run Australia's only national helpline for individuals and families suffering with the effects of perinatal anxiety and depression. So what is the difference between baby blues and perinatal anxiety and depression?
Baby blues, generally it's 1, maybe 2 days of feeling pretty devastated, sometime within a week or 2 after the birth, but then that will move on naturally. So depression it might be persistent crying, it might be that you're just withdrawing from family and friends, it might be that you really don't feel yourself and you can't be yourself, you might not want to be with your baby. At the most severe end, that might mean that you have thoughts about hurting yourself, hurting your baby, a sense that your family is going to be better off without you. So it can become quite extreme.
Right now, there are mums all over Australia struggling with the overwhelming emotional turmoil. But let me put your mind at ease. No matter how bad the diagnosis is, the prognosis is really positive. There are some amazing therapies out there, but more of that later. Right now, I want to introduce you to a mum who not only has gone through it once, but 3 times. Mel Bishop is living the dream. Stunning home, gorgeous supportive husband, loads of friends and 4 beautiful kids.
Good girl.
But before she sought treatment, things weren't so perfect.
When I had the twins, I'd already had my 2 older sons, and so I'd experienced depression with the second. And so when I started experiencing it with the twins, I knew that I was kind of on the ball, ready to, this is probably going to happen again. I remember I was actually sitting on the tennis court here, and the twins were like, it was when they were about 4 months old, and we had blankets out and they were rolling around and playing. And it was sunny and it was beautiful, and I was just sitting there crying and crying.
So the big question is, what causes these conditions?
We know that it can be about biological factors, so the hormones. It can be about psychological factors, so that the way your particular brain works, but it can also be social factors. And of course, it can be a combination of all of those or some of those factors.
Mel was the first in her family to have a baby. The anticipation and expectation was enormous. Then began the anxiety driven by fear of her baby dying and the need to be the best mum in the world.
The fact that I was getting all these compliments, which kind of spurred me on to be even more over the top. And so every time somebody told me how wonderful it was that I was doing so much, I did more and more and more because I had to keep that up. The level of depression I felt the second time round was definitely something chemical as well. I was going to bed and I would be, as I was going to sleep, I'd be praying, just please die in my sleep, please die in my sleep and don't wake up.
Oh,
and I couldn't.
That's confronting.
Yeah, it is. And when I woke up, I'd wake up and I would actually cry and I'd have tears every morning that I hadn't passed away in my sleep because I'd been hoping that I would.
Mel eventually got the help she needed, and now she and her family made all the necessary changes to ensure a happy and fulfilling life.
I love you very much. Huggles.
As I mentioned earlier, there are very effective treatments available for all of these conditions, so don't hesitate to chat with your GP. And of course, exercise along with a super healthy diet can work wonders. I want to tell you about a small yet significant study from the British Journal of Psychiatry. It suggests that mothers who sing lullabies to their babies recover from perinatal anxiety and depression more quickly than mothers on the usual therapies, such as antidepressants. This piece of research is very exciting, and as we all know, singing really is a cure for the blues. Sounds beautiful. Meet the Brunswick Women's Choir. Originally established in 1991 as a place for women to get together outside their jobs and family responsibilities. We know singing releases the feel-good hormones oxytocin and endorphins. It's also been shown to improve sleep, reduce heart disease, boost your immune system, and improve circulation.
One of the big things, I think, particularly for young mums, is that sense of being cut off, sometimes from the networks that you used to have, whether in the workplace or with friends, or feeling a bit competitive or frightened of other mums. You know, sometimes it can get a bit bitter. But when you're joining with people who are just doing something quite different, and you don't have to be a mum here, but you don't have to forget you're a mum either, there's that whole thing about putting something together that is more than yourself, so it takes you out of yourself. There's something really lovely about that.